Your soul is begging for clarity, but your mind is drowning in chaos. Every day, your thoughts are a battleground, scrolling, comparing, overthinking. You're burning hours on things that drain you, while your potential withers in the background. You're exhausted, overwhelmed, trapped. What if this is all there is? But what if I told you there's a weapon, forged over 2,600 years ago, designed to crush distraction, silence self-doubt, and make focus your superpower? Ancient masters didn't have apps, yet they hacked the human mind to transcend suffering, forge unbreakable discipline, and live with unstoppable purpose. Their secrets aren't buried in scrolls or locked in temples. They're here. In this video, you'll unlock 6 forbidden lessons to break free from procrastination and rewire your brain for pure, unshakable focus. Not with cheap motivation, but ruthless self-mastery. You'll learn the one phrase Buddha used to erase anxiety in seconds, why suffering is your greatest weapon and how to use it. A deadly ritual to purge toxic habits for good. This isn't self-help, this is self-revolution. Your future self is watching. Will you rise or will you let them down? Lesson 1. The blacksmith's forge of discipline. Life is like raw iron, unshaped, full of potential, but without form. You are the blacksmith. Your choices, your habits, your discipline, they are the hammer and fire that shape your destiny. Yet too many people fear the forge. They avoid the heat, the pressure, the discomfort. They wait for success to come, hoping the world will mold them into something great. But the world doesn't shape you, you shape yourself. In Buddhism, suffering is not a curse, it is a tool. Just like fire tempers steel, adversity strengthens the mind. The stronger the heat, the sharper the blade. Every challenge, every failure, every painful moment is an opportunity to refine yourself, to become sharper, stronger, more resilient. Buddha once said, "Endurance is one of the most difficult disciplines, but it is to the one who endures that the final victory comes." Let that sink in. Every time you shy away from discomfort, you let your potential remain unshaped. Every time you choose the easy path, you leave your iron brittle, weak, and unfinished. But the moment you embrace discipline, you take control of the hammer. Imagine waking up every morning and saying, "Today I step into the fire and forge my future." Would you still hit snooze? Would you still waste time on things that drain you? Would you still let distractions pull you away from your purpose? And before you sleep, ask yourself, how did I sharpen myself today? This isn't about guilt, it's about growth. If your past habits have shaped your present, your current habits can build a future beyond what you ever imagined. So ask yourself, are you willing to face the fire? Are you forging yourself with intention, or are you letting life leave you dull and unshaped? The forge is always burning. The hammer is in your hands. The only question is, will you create a masterpiece or let your potential rust away? Lesson 2. The ladder of unbreakable focus. Life is like a ladder, stretching toward your highest potential. At the top, mastery, success, fulfillment. Below, distraction, hesitation, regret. The only way up, step by step with purpose. Yet most people never climb. They stand at the base, staring at the rungs, paralyzed by indecision. They wait for motivation, for the right time, for someone to lift them. But time doesn't build the ladder. Intention does. Buddhism teaches the power of right effort, a principle of the Eightfold Path that states, what you frequently think and ponder upon will become the inclination of your mind. Your focus shapes your reality. Your thoughts are either building your ladder or keeping you stuck. Most people never reach their potential, not because they lack ability, but because they scatter their focus. They say they want success but drown in distractions. They chase every shiny object, scroll endlessly, compare themselves to others, never taking the first step. But when your focus is clear, when your mind is disciplined, you stop drifting and start ascending. Here's the truth. Weak goals are like broken rungs. They collapse under pressure. Saying, "I want to be successful," means nothing without action. Saying, "I want to be happy," is pointless without clarity. This is why Buddhist wisdom urges specificity. Instead of saying, "I want to be productive," declare, "I am someone who commits 2 hours daily to deep work." Instead of saying, "I want to be healthy," affirm, "I am someone who moves, eats, and sleeps with intention." Words shape identity. Identity shapes action. When you write your goals as I am statements, they become part of you. You don't just want change, you embody it. So ask yourself, is your ladder strong or fragile? Are your goals structured with intention, or are they just daydreams floating in your mind? Every day you hesitate, you remain on the ground. But the moment you take the first deliberate step, momentum builds. So what would you dare to accomplish if hesitation vanished? Imagine standing at the top of your ladder, looking down at the person you are today. Would your future self thank you for the focus you built? Or would they still be waiting, stuck in doubt? Your ladder is waiting. Your next step is clear. Climb with purpose, focus with intention, and never stop ascending. Lesson 3. The anvil of mental strength. Your mind is an anvil, a place where raw potential is hammered into greatness. But here's the truth most ignore. Strength is not given, it is forged. Without pressure, metal stays weak. Without challenge, skills remain untested. Without discipline, the mind stays fragile, bending to every impulse, every doubt, every distraction. You are the blacksmith of your destiny. The question is, will you forge yourself into something unbreakable, or will you let your potential rust? Buddhist monks dedicate lifetimes to training the mind because they understand a simple truth. Growth is not a luxury, it is survival. This is the essence of dukkha, the suffering that arises when we resist change, avoid challenge, and stay trapped in comfort. And yet, most people do exactly that. They wait for life to improve while spending hours on distractions. They upgrade their phones, clothes, cars, but never their minds. They wish for strength, yet refuse the fire that creates it. The Buddha once said, "The mind is everything. What you think, you become." Think about that. A weak mind is not the result of bad luck, it is the result of poor training. If you are constantly overwhelmed, restless, or distracted, the reason is simple. Your anvil is cold. You are not sharpening your mind. Social media, mindless entertainment, endless scrolling, these are not just habits, they are thieves. They steal your focus, weaken your resolve, and leave your potential untouched. But what if, instead of feeding distractions, you fed your discipline? What if you replaced 15 minutes of scrolling with meditation? What if you studied wisdom instead of consuming noise? What if you trained your focus like a warrior sharpens a blade? The difference between who you are and who you could be is the fire you are willing to endure. So ask yourself, what skill would transform your life if mastered? Is it resilience, focus, emotional control? Now imagine the version of yourself who has conquered that skill. The calm in their presence, the strength in their mind, the clarity in their eyes. That version of you is not a fantasy. They are waiting on the other side of discipline. So here's the real question. What if your next upgrade wasn't your phone, but your mind? What if, instead of chasing temporary distractions, you invested in permanent strength? The anvil is ready. The hammer is in your hands. Will you step forward and forge yourself? Or will you let time shape you into something you never intended? Lesson 4. The warrior's stance. A warrior does not win battles by chance. They plant their feet, steady their breath, and hold their stance no matter the storm. Discipline is this stance. Focus is the sword. And your goals? They are the victory waiting to be claimed. But here's the truth. Most people never win their battles. Not because they lack strength, not because they aren't capable, but because they never hold their stance long enough. They waver, they hesitate, they quit when the first difficulty arises. Buddhism teaches the principle of right effort, not just working hard, but working with precision, with patience, with persistence. Think of a fire. If you tend to it daily, adding small pieces of wood, it grows into a steady flame. But if you neglect it, if you let the embers cool, you will struggle to reignite it. Success, wisdom, and focus are not built through occasional bursts of effort. They are forged through small, consistent actions. A warrior trains daily, not just when they feel inspired. Buddha once said, "A jug is filled drop by drop." Think about that. Every meditation session, every page of wisdom read, every focused moment of deep work, these are the drops. And yet, most people dismiss them. They think 5 minutes of stillness is too little to matter. They believe one page of knowledge won't change them. But just like a single raindrop seems insignificant, over time, it can fill an ocean. Here's the mistake most people make. They wait for motivation. But motivation is like a passing breeze, it comes and goes. Discipline is the warrior's stance. It keeps you grounded even when the storms rage. The secret? Attach new habits to existing routines. Don't just say, "I will start meditating." Instead, tie it to something you already do. After brushing your teeth, 5 minutes of mindfulness. Before your morning coffee, write down 3 intentions for the day. After closing your laptop, take 5 deep breaths to reset. When habits are anchored to something familiar, they become automatic. They become part of who you are. So ask yourself, what daily sword are you failing to sharpen? What is the one small habit, the one daily drop of effort that could transform your life if repeated daily? Because no warrior masters their weapon without practice. No river carves mountains without time. And no mind finds clarity without discipline. Now picture yourself a year from today, sharper, stronger, more focused. That version of you is built one drop at a time, one stance at a time. Will you hold your ground, or will you let the storm decide your fate? Lesson 5. The Mountain of Inner Stillness. Life is a storm, wild, unpredictable, and untamed. Some days the sun shines and the winds are calm, carrying you effortlessly forward. Other days the skies darken and you are battered by tempests of stress, doubt, and frustration. Most people spend their lives chasing the calm and fearing the storm, exhausting themselves trying to control the uncontrollable. But true wisdom is not found in fighting the winds. It is found in becoming the mountain. Steady, unshaken. Buddhism teaches equanimity, the art of balance, the power to remain steady even when the world rages around you. It is where Buddhism meets Stoicism, where peace is not found in changing the world, but in anchoring yourself in what you control. The Buddha once said, "Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without." And yet most people search for peace in all the wrong places. They try to control others. They obsess over the future. They agonize over the past. They resist the storm instead of standing firm beneath it. But here's the truth. There are only 3 things you will ever truly control. 1. Your breath, the ability to pause, reset, and remain present. 2. Your effort, the energy you put into your actions. 3. Your ethics, the way you choose to live and respond. Everything else, it's just the wind. You cannot control how others treat you, but you can control how you respond. You cannot stop life's storms, but you can prepare for them. And yet, how often do we waste our energy on what is outside our reach? The opinions of strangers, the expectations of society, the mistakes of our past. But what if, instead of clutching at the wind, you mastered what was already within your grasp? Here's a simple practice. Whenever stress rises, ask yourself, is this mine to carry? If yes, take action. If no, visualize placing it in the wind and letting it drift away. Imagine watching your worries scatter like leaves, carried far beyond your reach. Because the more energy you waste on what you cannot change, the less power you have to shape what you can. So ask yourself, what storm are you trying to fight? Is it the need for validation, the fear of uncertainty, the desire to control outcomes that were never yours to dictate? Now, imagine how much energy you would reclaim if you simply let go. If you stopped resisting and instead stood firm. Because true focus is not just about where you direct your attention, it is about what you choose to release. The wind will always blow, the world will always change, but your power is not in stopping the storm, it is in becoming the mountain. Will you keep fighting against the wind? Or will you stand tall, steady, unshaken, and free? Lesson 6. The Crucible of Transformation. Fire can destroy, but it can also forge. The forests that burn are the same ones that grow back stronger. The metal that melts in the forge is the same metal that is reshaped into unbreakable steel. And the strongest warriors? They are not those who avoid the flames. They are those who walk through them and emerge transformed. Life will test you. Failure, heartbreak, loss, these are the fires that most people fear. They run from discomfort, they avoid risks, they hide from pain. But Buddhism teaches right view, the ability to see clearly, to reframe suffering, to recognize that pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. The Buddha once said, just as a snake sheds its skin, we must shed our past over and over again. And yet, how often do we see pain as punishment rather than preparation? Think about your own life, the setbacks that felt like endings, the failures that shattered your confidence, the losses that left you feeling broken. What if they weren't obstacles but openings? What if, instead of being buried, you were being planted? Every great transformation is preceded by struggle. The fire isn't here to destroy you, it's here to forge you. When life knocks you down, don't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Instead ask, "How is this happening for me?" This single shift in perspective changes everything. The failed business? It forced you to innovate. The broken relationship? It taught you your worth. The rejection? It redirected you to something greater. Every setback carries the seed of rebirth if you choose to see it that way. Here's a simple practice. After every failure, write down this sentence. "This happened for me because," fill in the blank. Maybe it's teaching you resilience. Maybe it's revealing a truth you ignored. Maybe it's clearing the way for something far better. At first, your mind will resist, because pain demands blame. But when you shift from victim to student, every loss becomes a lesson. Every fire becomes fuel. So ask yourself, what fire are you avoiding that could rebirth you? What challenge, risk, or painful truth are you running from, when in reality, it is the very thing that could transform you? Because no blade is sharpened without friction. No warrior becomes strong without battle. No phoenix rises without first facing the flames. The fire is inevitable. The question is, will you let it consume you or let it refine you? What if, years from now, you look back and realize, that fire was the moment I was reborn? Will you fear the flames or will you rise? Bonus lesson: the mountain of focus. A mountain does not chase the wind. It does not tremble at passing storms. It stands tall, unshaken, unwavering, timeless. But most people, they are not mountains. They are leaves in the wind, tossed by distractions, pulled by obligations, lost in busyness. They say yes to everything and wonder why they feel drained, why their purpose feels diluted, why their dreams remain unfinished. True focus is not about doing more. It is about doing less, but doing it with full presence. Zen teaches Ichigo Zanmai, the art of total immersion in a single task. Not multitasking, not half-hearted effort, but deep, undivided attention. Yet in today's world, people worship busyness as if it were a mark of success. They jump from task to task, checking notifications, answering messages, chasing urgency while neglecting what truly matters. But the Zen masters had a simple mantra: when walking, walk; when eating, eat. It sounds obvious, but when was the last time you truly did only one thing at a time? Every yes to distraction is a no to mastery. Every moment lost in triviality is a moment stolen from your greatness. The greatest minds in history did not succeed by doing more. They succeeded by doing less, but better. Bruce Lee once said, "I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times." This is deep focus, to stop scattering your energy across meaningless pursuits and instead pour it into something that matters. A simple practice, the distraction jar. Every time something tempts you away from your task, a random thought, a notification, an urge to check emails, write it down and put it in a jar. At the end of the day, review the list. You'll realize that most distractions are illusions, mere ripples on the water that seemed urgent in the moment but meant nothing in the long run. This one habit alone can sharpen your focus and reclaim hours of your life. Now ask yourself, what is your mountain? What vision stands tall within you, waiting for your full attention? Are you leading your life with clarity or drifting in the storm of distractions? Because here's the truth. Every time you chase what doesn't matter, you move further from what does. Every time you choose busyness over purpose, your true work remains undone. So what masterpiece remains unfinished because your focus is stolen by noise? What legacy dies each time you say yes to the insignificant? The world is full of distractions, but you are not a leaf in the wind. You are the mountain. Stand tall, stay grounded. Focus. The Buddha taught, all that we are is the result of what we have thought. Every excuse, every delay, every distraction, they are bricks in the walls of stagnation. But today you hold the hammer. Zen masters say, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. Mastery isn't a destination, it's the art of falling in love with the process. The world will try to pull you into chaos, but your breath is an anchor, your focus is a weapon. Your mind is a temple, so ask yourself, will you drift, waiting for life to change, or will you step forward and shape it? The way is not in the sky, the way is in the heart. If this stirred something in you, like, share, and drop yes in the comments. If you're ready to sharpen your mind like a blade, subscribe to Deep Wisdom and join a tribe of seekers. Your journey begins now, but only if you choose to begin.